The scholar they tried to silence, the buried legacy of Imam Abu Hanifa. He was offered gold, power, and status. He rejected them all, and for that, he was imprisoned, tortured, and left to die in silence. But what if I told you that the most followed scholar in the Muslim world today was once the most hunted man in his time? This is not just the story of a Jew. This is the story of a man who stood against empires with nothing but his conscience. Imam Abu Hanifa. The name is known, but the man behind the name, most have forgotten. Born in Kufa in the year 699, just decades after the Prophet Muhammad had passed, Abu Hanifa grew up during one of the most volatile times in Islamic history. The Umayyad dynasty ruled with might. Rebellions sparked like wildfire. Blood stained the streets in the name of politics, sects, and kings. But in this chaos, Abu Hanifa chose a different battlefield, the mind. He was not a warrior, he was a thinker, a cloth merchant by trade, a seeker of truth by passion. He studied deeply, not just law, but ethics, logic, hadith, philosophy. He questioned everything, but he never sold his soul. And that made him dangerous. Because in a world where rulers claimed divine legitimacy, Abu Hanifa preached that justice was not obedience to the throne, but obedience to God. That no man, no king, no caliph could stand above accountability. He believed that Islamic law was meant to protect the people from power, not to be used as a tool by it. So when the Umayyads came to him with offers of prestige, he refused. And when the Abbasids, after toppling the Umayyads, did the same, he refused again. Imagine that. Twice offered the highest judicial position in the land. And twice, he said no, because he knew what it meant. He knew that once he accepted their gold, he would be expected to justify their oppression. He would become their servant, not the servant of truth. And so, they punished him. First, they banned his teachings. Then, they summoned him. He was beaten, imprisoned, stripped of dignity, but never of conviction. In his cell, chained, old, and frail, he continued to teach his students through the bars. They begged him to recant. He whispered back, "What is knowledge if it cannot stand the pain of truth?" He died shortly after, poisoned or tortured. The records disagree, but he died free, not in body, but in soul. And here is the irony that history tries to hide. The same rulers who tried to erase him, their names are forgotten. But his, today, over half the Muslim world follows the Hanafi school of thought, because people may silence a voice, but they can never silence a legacy built on sincerity. Abu Hanifa taught us something deeper than law. He taught us that truth does not depend on who is in power, that dignity is not in robes or titles. It is in the refusal to kneel before falsehood. And he proved it not in war, but in silence. Not with armies, but with courage. Not by shouting, but by enduring. His life raises difficult questions. How many scholars today would choose chains over a palace? How many would speak truth when their livelihood depends on silence? He left no dynasty, no throne, but he left something eternal. The idea that a free mind, anchored in moral clarity, is more powerful than any empire. And today, when we forget the cost of real integrity, when we confuse fame with wisdom, when we trade truth for convenience, it is worth remembering the man who said no to so he could say yes to God. So ask yourself, what if we've been taught only half the truth?